Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. There we go. I got to get you guys warmed up for public policy discussion here in a few minutes, right? So you guys are ready to get back in there. For those who were in there yesterday, know that there's a lot of issues we get passionate about. And yesterday, county fairs became one of those. And I love just watching those conversations. I think you guys, as a delegate body, I was telling a lot of you guys this last night, you'll get it right. It might take a little while sometimes, but you'll get it right. You'll work through the policy discussions and you'll land where you need to land. And that was a perfect example of it yesterday in multiple ways, both on your code conversations and ultimately on the fair conversation. And I'm sure we'll have a few more of those today. But first, I just wanted to say welcome back to Columbus, right, for our 2021 annual meeting. It is great to be back together again, and of course, that is our theme for this meeting, very appropriately selected, because here we are, and it has been so great seeing everybody again. I made it out to a number of County Farm Bureau meetings this last summer, and I know each one of those were special. Folks enjoyed being together for meetings and having the discussions that we have and doing the business of our terrific organization. So we have a lot to celebrate. I think we know that. We have a record harvest that's still coming off. Unfortunately, a few folks I know are still taking off some corn and crops up in the northwestern part of the state. But we have a record harvest, and we also have, of course, record prices, which is often, those two things don't happen in Ohio at the same time. So we're very gracious and glad to see that happening this year. We also have a great list of wins for our organization from the work that we've all done collectively to advance our policies. And of course, we have a new Ohio Farm Bureau president, Bill Patterson, which you guys have all met. And of course, he addressed our delegate body yesterday. Bill and his family operate a terrific fruit farm, as you guys know, in northeastern Ohio. And he's long and deep roots in Ohio agriculture and in Ohio Farm Bureau. And as you can already tell, he's been doing terrific work for your organization, even though he's not even finished a year yet. He's really advancing things, and we appreciate his hard work as your president. I also want to say congratulations to Frank Burkett. We appreciate all of his service as our president, and also congrats, Finn, for his new role of being elected to the nationwide board. We know he's going to continue to serve the industry in this new role. Thanks, Frank. But as we also gather here this morning, we do know that certainly things are not back to normal in our world. We do know that the mood in rural Ohio has changed rather dramatically in the last couple years. When we look at a number of things that have been happening across the state, across the country, we do know that things have changed. And I've had those conversations with many of you as we visited all around the state. I've also had those conversations with a number of our elected officials who will be running for re-election again next year. And these are the things that I shared with them. They're the observations that you guys gave me. First, that our rural values and our farming values, people feel are being challenged. That there is some erosion of trust in institutions that we once trusted. Ought that be state government, federal government, some institutions, some in academia, some large corporations, certainly in the media. But no single issue are driving these concerns. It's a number of things. Whether we're talking about politics at the state level or the national level, where we're talking about political pundits or election outcomes or social unrest or the media or finger pointing, or certainly COVID actions at all levels. A number of these things have been driving these concerns. And of course, when we look at our record harvest, which we're very happy to see, we also at the same time know that inflation is happening and the cost of inputs are going up. So we're starting to get a little worried about the 2022 crop year. So those are all challenges that we have ahead of us. So what now? Now is the time that we do what Farm Bureau does best. We get together, we work together, and we solve problems. We also know that something's going to be happening in the year 2022 for sure, and that's an election. So while politics have become certainly a part of society's conversation these days, as political disagreements have become culture wars, We do know that paying attention to policy and politics is not new for us. We've been doing it for over 100 years. We're quite good at it. You guys are quite good at it. So, as we look toward these elections, while you guys are in the fields, in your barns, in your tractor cabs, know that our public policy folks are going to be doing the work for you. We're going to be working with lawmakers. We're going to be tracking their actions, the impacts that they have on our industry, both positively and negatively, and we're going to be communicating that to you. We put together our annual election guide. It will talk about exactly what all of our elected officials have done for our industry, or perhaps not for our industry. And we will hold them accountable. Know that we will help you build relationships with your policymakers. We have a lot of change in Ohio. We've had redistricting. So who is your new House member or your Senate member or your member of Congress? It might be the same person. It might have changed. Please look at the maps if you haven't yet. We do a great job. Many of you have built those relationships, strong relationships with so many good policymakers across the state of Ohio. Now's the time to continue to grow that relationship or take advantage of a new opportunity if you've been in an area that's redistricted. For example, I have. So my new congressional representative, very happy to welcome Troy Balderson as being my new representative. Have a great relationship with Troy. He's a great guy, and he's serving, of course, on the House Agriculture Committee in D.C. So make sure you check those maps and build those relationships and take those opportunities. It's a big deal. Also, of course, as we look at the elections, we know they're very, very important. What races, right? The House, the Senate, at the state level, at the federal level, those are happening, congressional. But also the Ohio Supreme Court. So as we look toward the races this coming year, the Ohio Supreme Court is going to be critical. We are also going to have a gubernatorial race. Now, hitting on the Supreme Court real quick, we know that when a lot of you return to Columbus for Ag Day at the Capitol in February, we're going to have a focus on the Supreme Court races and talk about that. What a lot of you probably have also read, although it hasn't quite hit, I think, the main media streams yet, is that for the first time in Ohio, the Supreme Court candidates, as you go down ticket, a lot of times people don't know who these folks are. But for the first time in Ohio, they will be identified with an R or a D behind their name. Their political party will be behind their name. That's the first time in Ohio history that that's been the case. So that will be different. So pay attention to the election guide when we send it out. Do your homework. Talk to your friends, your neighbors, talk in your county farm bureau, and be prepared to go to the ballot box to support all those who support Ohio agriculture. So getting back to those candidates I mentioned that I talked to earlier, I know many of you have been talking to folks around the state. The messages that I shared with them were pretty simple. Hit the road. Get out there. Get out in rural Ohio. Listen to you guys. Listen to you guys. Understand what you're saying, and then act on it. I encourage them to be positive and not divisional, to not focus on COVID, but instead focus on things that are positive for moving the state forward. We've had too many focuses looking backwards. We have a lot of positive things happening in this state to take us forward. When we look at the economy in Ohio, it's doing quite well. There's a lot of positive things to look at and to celebrate. I also encouraged making implementation of the new state budget real. Now, what does that mean? Well, there's new dollars in there for broadband, for water quality, for expanding meat processing in the state of Ohio, and a number of other things that support our industry. It's time to make those things real. This state can do it. We see our neighbors doing it around the country. We've often been a leader. Now's the time to do that again. I mentioned, though, at the beginning, I said there's been some erosion of trust in the media. But I do want to make one quick clarification. I was just talking to Dale Minio down the hallway out here. That's not true for AgNet. Do tune in to AgNet and read the Ohio Country Journal magazine. That's where you will still get good factual information that you can trust as you move forward this year. So you may have been reading also, as we talk about communications, about our many successes in the organization. Those have come about because of our rural action plan that we put in place this last year. And we've had a number of significant wins. President Patterson touched on those yesterday during his address. I just want to highlight some of those again. First, the Bureau of Workers' Compensation. We made sure that when there were dollars and refunds brought back to businesses, that those were made non-taxable. We also did lobby for ending extra federal unemployment payments to incentivize people to go back to work. We also asked for and were able to receive dollars from this administration to support our county fairs. So a lot of you guys are involved in your county fairs, hence the conversation yesterday. You know that a lot of dollars came out to the county fairs this past year to support them and allow them to have a good fair season. So those were things that don't happen by accident. They happen because of the hard work of this organization. Interestingly also, the state used $1.5 billion that they received from federal monies through some of the COVID actions to repay the unemployment benefit debt. It's a big deal. It seems mundane when I say it, but it's a big deal. The state could have taken that money and did a lot of different things with it. But the business community, ourselves and our business partners in Ohio, asked the state to use that money to repay that debt. And what that means is that you as businesses don't have to repay that debt, because otherwise that's exactly what would have had to happen. We appreciate the work that was done on that, both our General Assembly and we got some members here in our administration. There was additional work also done that was centered around our food systems. Expanding meat processing in Ohio, I mentioned, dollars and resources coming both from the state and from USDA. And of course, we moved forward our beginning farmer and rancher credit. It passed the Ohio House and now it's pending in the Senate. And we put historic funding into rural broadband for the first time in the state of Ohio. So, as Ohio agriculture and rural Ohio look forward to this next year, we also talk about one other big issue that we've been working on now and making, I think, very good success on, and that's water quality. So there's some new dollars also coming in to the H2 Ohio program that continues to expand. We have now over 2,000 farmers that have enrolled in the Ohio Agriculture Conservation Initiative program, over 1 million acres enrolled in that program. That's the hard work right here of Ohio Farm Bureau and all of our partners in the commodity groups, in the conservation groups and environmental groups working together, putting together a precedent-setting program that no other state has been able to do, bringing together those interests to move forward on something in a way that was incentivized and has worked incredibly well. I know many of you in the room have taken advantage of that program. You're in it, you believe in it. I appreciate the hard work you're doing it in that program, and the numbers are showing it. When we look at what's happening on the Maumee River and we look at what's happening as that water moves down into Lake Erie, the numbers are going down for what's happening there. So we appreciate what you guys are doing, the hard work to tackle the challenge. As we've often said, Ohio agriculture will do our part. We expect everybody else to also do theirs. We've also made major strides in protecting landowner rights, energy solutions, expanding trade, and of course, as we just talked about a few minutes ago, helping farmers manage farm stress. So we do thank the General Assembly and the administration for all their hard work this past year of supporting Ohio agriculture. I do have to mention one other issue, though, that has been a very challenging issue for our members this past year, and it came in the form of Senate Bill 52. This legislation, passed earlier in the year, can limit property rights of landowners for how they use their land if they're choosing to develop it into wind or solar. Farm Bureau has always supported an all-of-the-above energy strategy, and we opposed this bill in the General Assembly. Our position was simple. It was based on the fundamental principles of property rights. We often regularly oppose, and we will continue to do so, any legislation that limits an individual's ability to do what they want to do on their farm. That's why we opposed this bill. It's that simple. We know a lot of you are struggling with this issue, so we've been putting together resources that I think you're going to find very, very useful on our website. So on ohiofarmbureau.org, please jump on, download the discussion sheets and the materials on there for your counties to use as this issue moves forward. Of course, as you guys all know, if you got any questions on that issue, you can always call the staff. They're willing to come out and spend all the time that they possibly can with you guys as you continue to work through those difficult development issues. So yesterday, we also celebrated many successes of our county farm bureaus. These are great examples of what you guys do for our community every day, all across the state. We rewarded you guys for those terrific projects. We recognize it. We enjoy what you do. You also see it through our membership numbers. You guys have found creative ways through COVID to interact with members and to attract people to our organization. We ended our 2021 membership campaign with 500 new active members, bringing our total active member number to 68,382. Thank you guys for that terrific membership work. Membership doesn't just happen. You guys roll up your sleeves and you make it happen. That's why I also want to say thank you too for what you just did yesterday. Trusting your organization and giving your support to the actions you took to make sure that we continue to have a strong organization well into the future. So thank you guys for doing that, and thank you for the terrific conversation you had about it. It shows one thing to me, it shows that you care. You care. You guys debated that for what, 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours? I think by the time it was done, over 2 hours. It's because you care. If you didn't care, you would have passed it like that. So thank you for the debate. Thank you for the conversations. You did great work. So in addition to membership, partnerships. I have to pay some thank yous to all of our partners. First, Nationwide. Kurt, thank you for being here yesterday as well and speaking. I know everybody enjoyed your message. I appreciate you and your entire team. Nationwide, of course, is our heritage partner. They've been with us since the beginning, right? Because we were one. And I can't say enough about the appreciation we have for the work that Nationwide does to support agriculture. Yes, here in Ohio, but across the country. So thank you guys. Appreciate Nationwide's work. The Ohio State University, the College of Food, Ag, and Environmental Sciences, my alma mater, very proud of that. And Dean Kress, I know she was here, and then she has to deal with some guests that showed up here. She got word a couple days ago that she had to host the Secretary of Agriculture up the street here back at Waterman Farm. And we said, that's a very good opportunity. Yes, please be there and do that. And I know a few other of our members need to cut out and go up there and help host as well. So we appreciate them taking the time to do that. But Ohio State University, the College of Food, Ag, Environmental Sciences has been one of our other terrific partners now for many, many years. Really, as you guys know, when we celebrate our 100, it goes all the way back to our beginning. There's a nice sign and plaque standing on the southern part of that campus that shows exactly in the building, right, where we signed the documents to create the Ohio Farm Bureau on the campus of Ohio State. So we appreciate their long partnership. Also, our commodity friends, and a bunch of them are sitting back here in the back as well. So Ohio Corn and Wheat, soybean, cattle, pork, poultry, dairy, sheep, and Ohio Agribusiness. All of our friends across what we call the Commodity Roundtable. We meet every couple weeks, literally, myself and the other executives, and we coordinate our actions. We get along incredibly well in this state. I'm super proud of that. It's something that I set out as one of my goals when you guys hired me. It was to build ag unity, and I feel very proud of what we've done in this state to do that very thing. Also, our business partners. We got a slide full of all those folks up here. We call ourselves the Big Six Business Coalition. These are the 6 largest business lobbying groups in the state of Ohio. We also get together literally by the day during COVID, but every couple weeks we're together. And again, it's the CEOs of these groups right here. And we spend a lot of our time talking about how can we make sure Ohio is a better place for doing business. So we have a great group there. And then of course, our work with the American Farm Bureau, a great group there. And of course, they have an in-person meeting coming up that many of us are going to, and we really look forward to that. I'd also mention, hopefully, fingers crossed, next summer, will be the first time that the American Farm Bureau is going to hold a large event in Columbus, Ohio. And it is our staff institute. So over 500 State Farm Bureau staff and American Farm Bureau staff from all over the country will be here in the convention center having the Staff Institute. It'll be the first time. So we're really looking forward to hosting it. We hope COVID or other things don't disrupt it. As always, there's plenty of work to be done, but having our partners at the table make it much, much easier, right, to advance Ohio agriculture. So that brings me to the future of our organization. We spend a lot of time looking back at the past year and celebrating it, and that's why we really enjoy this meeting. And we also talk about the year ahead, so what's coming up the next year. But we also need to look beyond that. What about those years beyond next year? We know that the future of farming is full of change. We know that when we look at the food system, that it's changing. We know our farms are changing. We know consumer expectations are changing and environmental demands are changing. The types of threats that we face on our farms are changing. So we talk with our friends, and there's a few things that keep popping up as far as items that I think we need to keep an eye on. Bill Patterson mentioned a group called Aimpoint. There's friends of ours right up the street up here. We've worked with them quite a bit. They love kind of future casting, looking out there. What are the things that are coming down the pipeline that we need to be attentive of? The first item, and I'll mention several of these things that I put on my list. These are the things that kind of keep me up at night, right? And the things also that I really look forward to having conversations about and to frankly take the opportunity to deal with. The first is the fourth agricultural revolution. What is this fourth agricultural revolution? People are starting to talk about it. You hear this mentioned across the country in different ways. But this is really just talking about the digital revolution in agriculture that's happening right now. Significant leaps in genetics, genomics, biologicals, artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, biosensing, and data. We know those things are becoming more and more important every day in our industry. We also need to pay attention to repositioning of the global food system. We saw these major disruptions because of COVID. What was clearly expressed was that we have a very cumbersome food system. Despite all the efficiencies that have been made, it is still very cumbersome. So what is going to continue to change and possibly change rapidly? Inflation. Obviously, we got to keep an eye on it. It's the highest in 30 years. Urbanization. As that continues around the globe, over 60% or more of the world's population will live in an urban center within the next 25 years. What will that mean to rural parts of our country or our state? Will there be job shortages? Will there be a need for more automation? Climate change, whether you're talking about weather volatility and the impacts on production agriculture, or whether you're talking about carbon trading or carbon footprints, or policy around carbon and climate change. Will it be positive for agriculture, or will we let it be negative? I think there's huge opportunities for us. The global energy transition, it is happening. Where are we headed when we talk about the future of our energy? China, as they jockey for more power globally, they also are our largest agriculture market. Consumers, Kurt mentioned this yesterday. They used to shop based on facts. Now they're interested in shared values. What is that going to mean for our industry? ESG, 3 letters. A lot of you know what it is. Some of you don't. Look it up. Google it. Lots of major business decisions are being made around ESG and will continue to be doing so. A shift in the food system to functional foods and personalized nutrition. And last but not least, do you want to become that price maker or continue to be the price taker? You have the opportunity. A lot of you have already made that switch, but you got to fight for it. These are challenges, these are opportunities across our broad agricultural industry. So as we look at this changing landscape, we recognize that our members are changing too. You guys are adapting. You're doing what farmers do best. You're adapting every day. Know that your organization is also adapting. We are changing. We are looking for new ways to serve you in new ways that we innovate our organization. We did that, and we recognized by doing this in our new strategic plan and challenging ourselves on these very principles. So I'm proud of the board's work. They just approved or about ready to approve. It's in final draft form. After this meeting, they'll take a final look at it and hopefully put a stamp of approval on it. Our new strategic plan for the next 3 years. It's got 4 simple goals in it. The first one's advocacy. As you guys know, that's our bread and butter. We're very good at working with policymakers. I talked about them earlier. But we have to expand our policy work into the food system itself, because we know so many decisions that happen over here impact us just as much or more than policymakers. So we have to expand the work that we do in the policy and advocacy space. Value creation and delivery. We must continue to enrich the value we deliver to our members and also look at the model in which we deliver it to you. Engagement. We want to increase the meaningful engagement amongst our members, our partners, our influencers, and our stakeholders. And last but not least, organizational strength, because we must have an organization that is strong. We must make sure that we are continuing to foster a culture of innovation, efficiency, and service. So imagine a Farm Bureau of the future that feeds your needs for new ideas, feeds the new ideas for you and for your farm, your family, and for your community. An organization that provides direct value for your farming and agricultural businesses, that provides professional growth opportunities and networking for you, provides insights for you into fascinating food trends and issues, provides access for you to key policymakers and people across the food chain, and puts you in the cutting edge of agriculture. Our founding farmers began this organization on some simple principles. And the most simple of all was they just wanted to provide you what farmers need. We look forward to continuing that tradition. So thank you all again for your membership, for your time, your commitment to the Ohio Farm Bureau. We look forward to continuing to be your voice of the Ohio agricultural industry. Thank you again for your time, everybody. Now, I will make one final announcement. In 15 minutes, we will resume the policy session back down over in the convention center. So make sure that if there's any final coffee or drinks, I know I saw everybody lined up down there yesterday grabbing things, restroom break, etc. And then we'll start back again with policy in 15 minutes. Thank you for joining us this morning, everybody. I appreciate our foundation partners and everybody who was up here on stage earlier this morning. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.